called Jaylen Thompson, Timothy. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna put your A-list on tape today.
I don't know what that means.
It's his middle name.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
it's A-list.
A-list. Okay. All right.
So it's called You're the Boss. It's a children's book on financial literacy. It actually has a picture of my great niece on it. It's his brother's daughter, and this book is great. It's written for children that's 6 and above, but anybody that's even in like college or say that you're an adult, you can find a whole bunch of gems in here. And it starts off with the young lady. It's actually my great niece. She's working a 9 to 5, and she's just like, man, this sucks. Why are we doing this? And by the end of the book, she ends up creating her own lemonade stand, and that lemonade stand ends up becoming a chain restaurant, and it has all type of keywords.
Tell us the whole book, though. We got
That's all type of keywords.
Carried away. Let me stop. Let me stop.
They got everything in there. They got activities and games and stuff for the kids.
So what is that teaching? What is that promoting?
It teaches you how to become the boss.
Okay.
Basically, to where you're not the employee. So nowadays in school systems, Jaylen, he's a firm believer that he got his degree first and foremost, but he's a firm believer in you do not need to go to college to have a proper education and to be able to actually function and maintain as a proper human being in this society. So he made that book so that kids, when they're growing up, all you get pushed into your head when you're in these schooling systems and stuff is how to become the employee, how to work for somebody else. You're obtaining a degree to go and work for somebody else, and in turn, you're gonna make a lot of money or whatever, but you'll never make the same amount of money as the person that you're working for. That book is basically flipping the script and putting kids in a position of power and having them think about being the boss and not the employee.
Yeah.
Being the person that's creating jobs and not the person receiving the job.
I'll note here that it was written by a former collegiate athlete as well.
Yes,
so,
sir.
And everybody has their different belief systems, and I think the world is coming to a different reality in the value of college education and how that gets paid for and how we play, what part it plays in the economic system of things, right? But I just want to go across the board, and this will be the last question we wrap up with. Just how do you feel about your college education looking backwards? And we'll start.
Let's start with that.
Yeah. Are you gonna need a minute? Yeah, and I'm just speaking to the college education, not necessarily the college athletic experience, but the education that you receive, because you, for a long time, that's what the sale was, right? Get your school paid for, et cetera, right? And I don't disagree with that, right?
Yeah.
I'll just go out on, put my opinion out there, but I'll let you go, Chyna.
Honestly,
No, lie to me, Chyna.
Hey, tell him the real.
I think my degrees are pointless. If I'm going to be honest, when you get into college athletics, they throw you in any major, and I really wish that I was educated on the majors, and I really wish that I would have studied things that I was interested in, so I could have went into fields that I had interest in and actually been able to use my degrees for things that I'm interested in. My degrees are pointless. Like, I will probably never use my degrees for things that I actually want to do. So, I mean, okay, it's a big deal and it's a very big accomplishment for me to have my degrees. Nobody in my family has ever done it, and I'm very proud of myself for doing it. But honestly, it feels kind of worthless if I'm going to be honest. Yeah, so
We're gonna put this in the vault, and I'm gonna ask you that question 10 years from now too.
Uh-huh.
All right, and I would like to know. I'll be interested
If the answer stays the same.
If the answer stays the same.
Yeah.
Right. I absolutely understand what you're
Yeah.
saying, but it is a TSA pre
yeah.
pass.
I just wish
You
I
feel
would
me?
have. Yeah, I just wish I would have got them in things that I was interested in. Like, I just went into school and that athletics were just like, okay, you're going to major in this and then you're going to major in this. That's what all athletes do. That's literally what they did. And then I'm like, and then by the time I'm halfway through my degrees, I'm like, I don't want to do this.
Right.
Like, I have no interest. I got school paid for. I went to school. I had those experiences, but that's how I feel about it. Yeah.
I'm kind of drawn in the middle of how I feel about my degree. I'm currently using it here at Athletics and Beyond, training and coaching and things like that. I got my degree in exercise sports science. So fortunately enough, I'm actually utilizing it. Not as much as I could. I got my degree to be a PE teacher, but I also got certified to be a math and science teacher as well. So I'm not technically using it for the right thing, but overall exercise sports science, yeah. I feel really happy about that I did go to college. I feel like I expanded my mind and just started thinking a little bit different once I was there. And I think that it was the reading the extra books about the little things, and it was just like the discipline that came with the degree that I'm more pleased about. So like overall as a whole, I would say that I really appreciate being in college and what it gave to me. I say that if you don't know what you're gonna do, if you don't know what you're gonna specialize in, I would say stay at home and you get that same kind of knowledge. Just move away from home. You know what I'm saying? Go do something different that you've never done in your life before. Go where your mom and pops can't save you, at least right away. You know what I mean? That you always gonna have your mom and pops until, you know what I'm saying, you don't. You know, say everybody got a day or whatever. But move somewhere and just enjoy something that's different and kind of just find yourself, kind of how Jervae was talking about earlier.
You jump in the deep end.
Yeah, really.
Alright, so this is how I feel on this topic. So sports, that's a hobby. Education is life. You never stop learning. Now, I don't necessarily think the college education is the standard, like a 4-year degree. Bachelor's, you can't really do anything. Like I said, my psychology major, bachelor's, I can't do anything with that, you know what I'm saying? They're gonna look at me and they're gonna be like, you gotta go to medical school, you gotta get your PhD. I got 4 to 8 more years. But I feel like in our community, especially in the Black community, since we can't really afford to send our kids to school, that's the narrative. Oh, you're gonna play sports and we're gonna get college paid for. Just like Chyna was saying, they'll put you in classes that you don't really wanna be in. You're here for sports strictly. You're not here to really get an education. It's a business, just like if you go to the NFL. You're here to produce. So that's the same thing. But I feel like the narrative needs to change. Let's get to where we are doing activities outside of sports, to where we can get more scholarships. We can get better scholarships, because there's scholarships out there, academic scholarships that'll pay for everything. All 4 years, plus you can go to medical school for whatever you want to do. And if you want to be realistic, like we say, we want things Black owned within our community. What that means is we have to have Black nurses, we have to have Black doctors, Black dentists, we have to have Black architectures. And how do we have those? Not by being entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurship is great, but those people have to go to school. If you want to build a community and you want those things to be Black, these people have to be Black. You have to raise these kids to be, you know, what you want to go and see. What do you want to see at the grocery store when you go in? What do you want to see at the doctors when you go to the doctors to make you feel safe, to make you feel like you're at home? What do you want the psychiatrist to be? You want them to be Black? Because that's the community that you're in. We say there's a lack of things, but we have to put our children in those places. We're lacking in the resources because we're not putting them together. You know what I'm saying? We're like, okay, here's sports. No, that's not it. We should treat sports as it is, a hobby. That's not life. It can teach you certain things. It can give you discipline. It's gonna give you what you need, but life is life itself.
I'm smiling at you because I was expecting an answer like that, but I am still very surprised. You know what I mean? I was expecting that, but I wasn't expecting it, and it's dope. And keep going.
I mean, yeah, that's basically everything of how I feel like sports is a tool for you to get to certain places. Yeah. Of course, that's great. I've met so many good people, you know, I got a degree and everything like that, but what's gonna actually lead me to do what I wanna do? I personally feel growing up, nobody focused on who Tsavion was. They focused on what I can do football-wise. What can I do on the track? I just had a conversation with my mother the other day, no shade towards her, but she was like, I wish you would've kept running track. Like, now I could be a philosopher. I could be the next Malcolm X. Yeah. I could be like Louis Farrakhan. I could be like these other people that are within the community and do great things. I don't have to be out there damaging my body. I could do this freely. And also, if you think about it, you could still be within sports and not be out there breaking down your body. Think about Jerry Jones, the owners and things. How are they getting those jobs? Yeah.
They lost.
What are they doing to get those jobs?
Jerry bought his, but
Well,
there's still
I mean, yeah.
the GMs
But,
and
yeah.
the personnel directors.
Right, and
all
the
those
head
things.
coaches. There's head coaches that never
never
even
played no
played
ball.
football.
Yep.
Never played basketball,
Yep.
but they got those jobs. Let's teach our kids, if they're interested in sports, that they can do those things as well. Let's make it cool to be educated. Like I said, the black man's reading level is 4th grade. Let's make it a cool thing to go to school and be doctors. We need more policemen. We talk about police brutality.
And about how all the police systems and everything, I was actually thinking about that as you were saying that, how all the police systems are corrupt and stuff like that, but you don't have any black faces representing the police system.
Right? Nobody's
And we're talking about being over here targeted at alarming rates where people are getting pulled over as much, but we don't have anybody that's in that position to be like, this is wrong,
Exactly.
kind of thing.
That's what I'm saying. So if we
I got a good friend, his name is Jaylen Wright, you should talk to him, I'm gonna have to introduce you guys.
that went to Fort Lewis.
Yeah.
I went to school with him.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
And one of your stops.
Huh?
Or it was one of your stops when you went to with Jaylen?
No, that was high school.
Oh, okay, okay.
Man, that's crazy. But yeah, that's basically,
Okay.
that's my thing.
Jervae, that's hard to follow.
Man.
But I know you're gonna bring it on, so go ahead.
I'm gonna try. That's really hard to follow up. I mean, I'm kind of in the middle too because I kind of use my degree every day. I got my degree in social sciences, so that's basically just knowing about people and how they work, how they think, and really, I just think the educational system, the way it's designed for us to learn how to work in the world that they have created. You understand? So we don't focus on the things that we need to learn about ourselves that will teach us what we want to be. We don't know that we want to be that architect, that doctor. We only know what we're exposed to. The things that we see, that's what we think we want to be. So our education system doesn't spend the time developing the other things, that we might like. They teach us math, science, reading, writing. They don't talk about the other things that you can become. So in a sense, when you get to college, you don't really know what you want to study. So you don't really get to choose, you're given this and you have to run with it pretty much. So I think, I don't know, I could go on about this topic forever because it's really deep. It's really deep,
Especially as an athlete, my bad.
You
Especially as an athlete, I don't feel like people look at us, like you were saying earlier, Chyna, like people don't look at us as humans. Like that's what we are. As soon as we come out, like we're humans, this is who we are. We have developmental processes. And a lot of us go through these situations to where we build up trauma and then we get to a point to where we explode and things go crazy. But nobody's actually advocating for us to get better. Think about things, so for example, within football, a lot of players have CTE. They might go crazy, but think about if they were going to therapy, if they're going to see psychiatrists before, and if they were dealing with their trauma that they've experienced during childhood, it'd be a lot better situation for them.
They might still be jacked up, but it wouldn't.
I mean,
Yeah.
they won't. They probably won't do no over the board type stuff. Yeah.
To be able to release all that extra pent up anger or whatever, at least talk to somebody that
Exactly.
can potentially understand what they're going through.
Right, a professional, and they can afford it. It's affordable. In our community, I feel like psychiatrists, we think that it's not affordable, but we'll turn around and buy 300 pair, $300 Jordans and stuff like that.
Because we buy what we see. We
Right.
want to become what we
Right.
see. We
Right.
don't know who we are.
And I just had this conversation with somebody the other day. They were saying, well, is it a problem that there's not enough black psychiatrists? I personally said it doesn't matter what color they are. It's that we aren't educated that we can go and see them without it being a problem. That they are there for us. It's our benefit. Just like you were saying, like we need to see it in order for us to actually do it. So there being less psychiatrists is because we don't even know that that's a thing.
Yeah. And speaking to the affordability part, there's some intentionality. I mean, we all saw Boys in the Hood, right? Liquor store, gun store, funeral home, liquor store, gun store, funeral home. For so long, that's what we medicated ourselves with,
Yeah.
right? Self-destruction, right? Alcoholism, drugs and alcohol, and we all know that story and how that's affected us to a higher degree, right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, yeah, you start doing that,